Mr. Speaker, and with that, I move we adjourn sine die.
So ordered.
Well, the legislative session is now over, and the resounding cheers from lawmakers means they can now head home.
And that they did. Lawmakers passed several key measures since the session started back in early February. Your reporter Anna Stansfield live outside the state capitol building for us again right now to break down some of the biggest decisions made so far this year. Anna, good morning.
Well, good morning. It came with, as you mentioned, some very long nights and early mornings, especially in the last few days as the legislation session, the clock really started to tick down for these lawmakers, but they were able to ultimately pass several key pieces of legislation here, getting them all the way through to the governor's desk. The proposed budget this year was a major focus for lawmakers after hearing warnings of cuts to staff and programming from school districts across our state. Leaders in the House and Senate decided to increase funding for education by about $200 million. Homeschool regulations also took up days of debate at the Capitol, and a new bill will bring more regulations for parents who want to take their kid out of school. They'll now have to apply every year and get a background check. And if they have any active cases with DCF or are on the abuse registry, they won't be able to homeschool their kid. Another big focus this session was bringing ICE regulations to Connecticut. A bill that's already secured the governor's signature will restrict where ICE agents can detain people in our state and allows for legal recourse for anyone who feels their civil rights are being violated. And yesterday morning, after an overnight debate, lawmakers passed a bill restricting the sale of certain Glock-style pistols that can be turned into machine guns. So obviously a lot of progress made here this session, but there were still several bills that weren't able to be passed here this year. I'm going to break down some of the biggest ones coming up in the next half hour. For now, though, I'm your reporter live in Hartford, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Anna, thank you. Here's a couple of the other measures that passed. Lawmakers reached an agreement on a bill to allow no excuse absentee ballots. Democrats agreed to take out an automatic renewal provision opposed by Republicans. Another bill that passed, stricter penalties for drivers who illegally pass stopped school buses. If the governor signs it, drivers who commit 3 offenses will lose their licenses for 6 months starting in October.